Hey my friends, Kirby here of KirbyAndersen.com. Hey, if you're like me, I'll bet you're always interested in learning just a little bit more about how that you can eat healthier. And yet at the same time, I will also bet that even though that you're interested in maybe losing a little weight or just feeling better, you don't want it to be complicated, am I right? I mean, who needs that? We've got enough hassle going on in our lives. And for that reason, I want to talk to you today about healthier eating made simple. And I'm talking about really simple, because great nutrition and great taste does not have to be complicated. You know, once people hear about the choices that Gail and I have made over the last number of years in our eating and how we have changed that, the number one question that we get asked almost weekly, several times a week, is, what recipes do you use? Oh, you gotta send us your recipes. And our response is generally just a little bit of a paradigm buster. Because we do have a few favorite recipes, but not very many. Generally, all we do is just something that we call food combining. You know, in order to keep our meal planning very simple, what we tend to focus on are those foods that are going to give us the nutritional value that we want, rather than thinking about the taste that we want. And don't get me wrong, we eat great tasting food. In fact, I think we eat tastier food now than we have ever done growing up prior to some of the choices that we have made in the last few years. But we try to think of as food more as fuel rather than just something to tickle our taste buds. Now, most of the meals that we enjoy generally consist of the same foods. And I'll bet you that's the case when you look at your family menu as well. And so what we do is we just try and keep a few basic foods on hand so that we can quickly combine them and do so in some different ways just to keep it interesting. And the cool thing about this is you don't need a recipe. And that's generally where a lot of people, I can just see when I mention that, their mind goes tilt, click, just a little bit. They can't get their head around that. And the best analogy I've found to this is I've known a lot of keyboard players in my life, and so many of them grew up playing to sheet music, and consequently, that's all that they can play. You pull the sheet music away, and they're frozen. They're paralyzed. They don't know what to play, even though they may be really good at playing the keyboard. You get others who maybe just play by ear. If they can hear it, they can play it. And every once in a while, you find a few people who can do a little bit of both. And I find that's the way it is with people when they tend to think about food, because so many today can only prepare meals by the sheet music, by the recipe. You pull away the recipe, they freak out as if food was a right or a wrong, like they're really going to blow it. And that's what I love about combining your favorite foods together, is there's just absolutely no way that you can mess that up. And not only that, it keeps your meal planning and shopping and food preparation so easy, and it makes it so fast. Now, since Gail and I eat a plant-based diet, and that might not be your case, but you can still follow me and use these same things today. Our basics are just beans, whole grains, vegetables, fruit, seeds, and nuts. Those are the things, and we take all of that and we just throw it together in a number of simple ways. And we eat some of these things every single day, and that's what's going to give us all the micro or the macronutrients that we need, all of the essential amino acids, all of the essential fatty acids to give us the good health that we desire. So let me tell you just a few of the simple steps that we use in making our meal prep simple by this food combining. Number one, just choose your beans or legumes. Now, when you combine beans with a good whole grain, it is going to give you all of the essential amino acids that you need. Because sometimes people are challenging us. They're saying, listen, if you're not eating meat, you two, how are you getting all of those amino acids? You get all of the essentials when you combine within a day a bean and some whole grains at some time during the day. Not only that, the beans, they just taste good. They're hearty. They stick with you. I like to say that beans have actually become my meat. And there's so many great choices. My gosh, you've got black beans, you've got pinto beans, either whole or refried. You've got garbanzos and chickpeas, which you can make into hummus or just use them whole. You've got lentils and kidney beans and great northern white beans There's so many different kinds and so many different options the way you can use them. You can use them in soups, you can throw them on top of your salad, you can even include them in your sandwich. So the first thing that we choose is the beans. Number 2, we then choose the whole grain. Again, you want to combine that with your beans. That's going to give you those essential amino acids. And there are so many great choices again. My gosh, you've got rice, quinoa, tortillas, breads, so many different things. We like to just make up a big batch of brown rice and just keep it in the refrigerator for quick access throughout the week. Now, as you're going out and buying breads or tortillas or pitas, anything that's made for you and that comes in a package and it's got a label on it, I just want to give you a couple of tips for your shopping. Make sure that you look at that label and you find the whole grain stamp on there. Very important to make sure that it is truly whole grain. And if you don't know what that looks like, I've included a link in the notes down below this video that will show you that and tell you just a little bit more. The other thing that you need to look for while you're looking at that label are the ingredients list. Make sure that it does not include high fructose corn syrup. I am still absolutely amazed at the name brands that'll even put on their packaging all natural and still are throwing in the trash like the high fructose corn syrup. All it's there for is to make it cheaper, and it's making you sicker. You don't need it. Find another brand. My favorite brand of breads, by the way, is Food for Life. I love the Ezekiel breads and the sprouted grain breads. They're fantastic. So once you've chosen your whole grain, number 3, choose your vegetables. So important. The more, the better. And the best place to start is just with the dark leafy greens. And I'm talking like the spinach or the romaine. If you're eating the iceberg, use it for stuffing boxes or something, because it's absolutely of no nutritional value to you. You don't need that. Start with the leafy greens and then add to it all of your other favorites, and the more colors that you can include in that, the better, because they all represent a different combination of micronutrients that your body needs. And if you really want to fight cancer, okay, I'm all about that. These things will really help your body to fight cancer, and that is the peppers like bell peppers and onions and cruciferous vegetables, so things like broccoli and cauliflower and cabbage. Those things are tremendously powerful in helping your body to fight cancer. Just an added bonus. Number 4, choose hot or cold for your vegetables. I mean, man, you can roast them, you can steam them, you can stir fry them, whatever it is. Choose whatever you feel like at the time. Throw it all together and just make a great soup. You can't mess up soup. It's one of our favorites. And you can eat these things raw. You can have a combination of both. Maybe even put some pasta sauce on top of your vegetables. I do that 2 or 3 times a week because it is absolutely great, man, for our prostate health. Just another tip there. Number 5, add a side. And by a side, I'm just simply talking about a small handful of nuts or seeds, or maybe some fruit as you desire. Maybe you even want to save these things for later on for a mid-morning or a mid-afternoon snack. Now, for those of you who are not plant-based, you'll probably want to add another step here, and that is where you are adding a meat. Just make sure it's a great, healthy meat. Try to avoid the processed meats, all those things that we love to eat, like the sausages and the bacons and that kind of stuff. Try and avoid that and cut down a little bit on the quantity. We don't need 16 ounces of this stuff. General rule of thumb is no bigger than a deck of cards, maybe about 4 ounces. And I've got other info in the links down below that'll tell you a little bit more about that. Now, some of the favorite combinations that Gail and I just use really quickly. We love to take pita bread, cut it in half, make a pocket sandwich out of this thing, and just stuff it with our favorites like hummus and avocado and spinach, chopped peppers, shredded carrots, mushrooms, onions. It's absolutely fantastic. You can make a quick burrito. Just take a good whole grain tortilla and put some brown rice on there with your favorite beans and spinach and salsa. Boom, ready to go. And my favorite on-the-go combination is when I've got to go quickly, is I just use almond butter, some banana slices, put it on a slice of good whole grain bread or a tortilla. I'm out the door and I'm ready to go. The options are absolutely endless for this kind of food combination. Whether it's soups or salads or paninis, other sandwiches, man, then add to that all of the great favorite condiments that you have and incredible spices that we have available to us today. And you're going to have a 4th of July that's going on in your mouth, and you should. Simple is good, and it's good for you, and it can taste absolutely amazing. So if you'll take my advice, I guarantee you're going to be spending a lot less time this week in planning your meals, shopping for your meals, preparing for your meals, and in addition, as you focus on these whole foods and especially more plants in your diet, you're going to see some incredible benefits in your health very, very quickly. I hope that was helpful to you. Hopefully it was motivational, probably made you hungry, and that's okay. But if you'd like to stay up to date with other videos like this, go over to my website, KirbyAndersen.com, subscribe to my email newsletter. I've got a lot more info, as I referenced earlier today, in the notes down below. Way more things than what I could possibly talk about. Also got some links there to some other posts that I think that you will find helpful. But try a few of these ideas this week. Stretch just a little bit. Do something different. I think you're going to be very pleased. It's going to help you to live better, to love more, to leave the legacy that you desire. Have an awesome week, my friend. Stay on target.